All right, welcome into the Late Night Gamecock Show. I am your host, Matt Anderson, the Late Night Gamecock. And joining me, as always, is Rob Williams of Gamecock Central, the Big Spur. Um, everywhere else, Rob, tell the people where they can find you.
Four Quarter Friday, soon to be fourquarterfriday.com. SEC Sunday night right here on the Chief Sports Network. Tonight we'll have everybody's favorite friend Chris Marler on. We're going to talk NCAA baseball. We're going to talk Ole Miss football. So it'll be a fun time. I'm everywhere, but we are here to talk about the Gamecocks. And Matt, there's a lot to talk about here on what is today, June 7th, 2026. So much happening across the board. We got football, basketball, baseball.
We do. And so Rob and I are laughing just so everyone can be inside the joke. I don't know if I'm glitching right now. I don't know if you guys can hear me, if you can see me, but I'm in a strange place using some different Wi-Fi. I couldn't even download a picture to put for a background. So this looks like a beautiful home I'm spending some time in.
Oh,
But
we've got movement, ladies and gentlemen. Matt Anderson has come alive and is now moving on the screen. We're no longer frozen. Also, Matt Sellers reminds us that you can find me on the Morning Minute every day on Four Quarter Friday. That is
there you
true.
go.
That is true.
So Rob, man, we got a lot to get to. Like you mentioned off the top, we got baseball head coaching search. We got some basketball nuggets that have popped up. We always say Gamecock football recruiting never stops. And then at the end, we have a fun game that I'm going to go ahead and shout out Gamecock Nation on Instagram for. I came across it today. It's not me and Rob's creation. We just found it and we're going to play it. So it'll be a lot of fun. But Rob, my first question for you today is approximately how many times has someone you know or don't know asked you about the Gamecock baseball coaching search?
The limit does not exist, Matt Anderson. There are text messages, in-person encounters, gas stations, indoor facilities, church steps, you name it. We've done it all. We've done it all. We've been stopped here, there, and everywhere. I'm seeing some people in the chat over here saying that they can't see us. Let us know if you still can't see us. I think that my signal as the producer on the producer side is great. So you guys should be able to see everything we got going on. But yeah, Matt, everybody is tuned into this baseball search and they want to know. And as two of the faces of on the Big Spur staff, I think that they, when they see us, they want to ask that question. And there's only so many answers to go around, unfortunately, in terms of updates.
Well, I can tell you that I sat down at the dinner table 2 nights ago with my mom, and that was the first question that was asked. When are they going to hire a coach? Who's the leader in the clubhouse? And we'll talk about that here in a minute. But actually, Rob, let's go ahead and get into it. That's what everyone wants to hear about, so we'll start with that.
Yep.
I don't think much has changed. Obviously, some of the candidates like Sabins at West Virginia, some of the candidates like Meade at Troy, some of the candidates like Forbes at North Carolina, they've all punched their ticket to Omaha. And
yeah, we didn't get much change there, right?
In terms it's just like
it's like we're playing. They've all continued forward. You thought just a few minutes ago, Matt, that maybe North Carolina and Forbes would be eliminated, and that would make a little bit of a change in what we had from a few days ago. But with all those teams advancing, it's still a little bit of the same narrative. All the coaches still on the board, and all these teams are still playing.
Rob, did you ever watch Lamb Chop as a little kid? Did you ever see it? Like
a little bit, yeah.
There's this one like scene, and I think it happens every couple of shows, but this is the song that never ends. Yes, It goes on and on, my friends. Some people started singing it. So like this is what we're doing right now. Like we've been talking about this for quite a while. I don't know. I don't know when it's going to come to an end. My gut tells me, Rob, that if it's Kevin Schnall, it will probably be announced in the next, 48 hours tops. We're 72 hours past Kevin Schnall officially meeting with Jeremiah Donati, the athletic director at South Carolina, for a formal interview. I'm sure there were a number of things discussed. When these interviews happen, it's not just hey, do you want the job? It's tell me
Yep.
about your plan. Here are the issues that we face. How would you address them? I mean, it is a job interview. So, and I posted on the Big Spur this past weekend, Rob, it's not as cut and dry as, oh, well, they're slow playing Kevin Schnall. Maybe they're slow playing Kevin Schnall. Maybe they wanted to see the results of the Super Regional. Maybe Kevin Schnall has pretty much agreed to a contract and they're ironing out the details. Maybe Kevin Schnall says, I'm at my alma mater. I've gotten to the top of the mountain almost. I want to conquer Everest. So, who knows what's happening with Kevin Schnall? I wouldn't read too much into it because I do think that a lot of this is nuance. It's posturing, and it's posturing on both sides.
And I would agree again. Matt Sellers here in the chat box says, JC said on Coffee if Schnall was going to be the guy, it was going to be done by Friday. Does that mean he's out or just no longer number one option? I would just reiterate, I think all candidates are still on the board that have been given their that Jamie gave on the Big Spur last week. And so I wouldn't say that Schnall is out of it. No, just because it hasn't gotten done. Now we continue to kind of push that narrative back and back, right? Like if it is Schnall, then we expect it to get done by this date, and then it wasn't done. If it is Schnall, we expect it to get done by this date, and then it wasn't done. That is because there are new developments happening in the process. And so all of this is very fluid and happens from day to day. Everything that's been coming, I know this has been a confusing time in terms of the coaching search because there's been a lot of information, some quality, some misinformed stuff floating around out there. I think that everybody is doing their best and has pretty good sources, but I would just say pay the $1 at the Big Spur and Gamecock Central and get both of those sites and everybody who works so hard there to give you the latest and most accurate updates on what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, like we said earlier, if it's not Schnall in the next 48 hours, I would maybe cross Schnall off your list. And then, oh my gosh, Rob, it's the worst thing in the world. They're maybe picking between three coaches that went to Omaha this past year.
Right.
So we'll see where it goes. I do think Holiday at Oklahoma State is a dark horse still in the room. I feel confident right now in saying you have Holiday, Schnall, Meade, Forbes, and Sabins. I think it's one of those five.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be one of those five. So
I don't disagree with you, but I think the problem with that, Matt, from the fan standpoint, is that there's still five. You know what I mean? Where there's nothing that can be done about that as of right now, and not being able to see how the sausage is made. JC made the comment last week, I think, on the show or the morning show or something, where he said that people don't care how the sausage is made; they just care about the end result. And I do agree to a degree. I think that's true. But while the sausage is being made and the process is getting drawn out, I think people then want to dig into the details of what's happening and why is it happening and what's leading from one candidate to another and what's the real pecking order. I think that everybody has a different opinion, and I guess people are entitled to those opinions on what the true pecking order should be. But we don't have all of the information and the ins and outs that Jeremiah Donati has. So you kind of have to trust the leadership to be able to make that evaluation. And yeah, there are still five guys on the board. I would agree with you, Matt. So just a little bit more patience. I know that's not what anybody wants to hear, but a little bit more patience as you got three candidates that are headed to Omaha.
Yeah, I think that's right. And Rob, I'm going to be right back. I'm going to let you get through some of these basketball nuggets.
Yep.
I think the internet's flipped over, so I'm going to get off my phone and get on the other internet now. So I'll be right back. But go ahead and take this basketball stuff.
Absolutely. All right, so let's jump in here as Matt is resetting that internet. The SEC ACC showdown opponents have been announced. We got this last week. On the women's side, they will play Duke, who finished 5th in the AP Top 25. The Gamecocks obviously finished 2nd after that loss in the national championship to UCLA. Not the way that they wanted to finish. I like this matchup. I think that two programs in Duke and South Carolina who have had success, not just within their conferences, but nationally. I really like what the Duke women's program has been able to develop and grow over the past few years. And that it's interesting on the women's side of sports that we've gotten this matchup with Duke a couple of times. Obviously, they've been instrumental in the softball team's scheduling the past couple of years as well. So this one will be one of those quality tests for Dawn Staley and her crew. And then on the men's side, they will travel to NC State, so won't have to go far down the road from where the women are playing. But Justin Gainey, obviously the new head coach there in Raleigh. He was a Tennessee assistant last year, but he's an alum of NC State, so he'll be home trying to build something there at NC State. Third coach in as many years because of the Will Wade's conundrum. So with all the turnover there, this becomes interesting. This is obviously a rematch of the exhibition that happened last year before the season. It gave a lot of Gamecock fans hope in the way that the Gamecocks performed against that NC State team. So we'll kind of be tuned in, obviously, to see it's a potential quad one win or quad one opportunity, I guess I should say, there against NC State. They lost 8 players to the portal, which is, kind of to be expected when you have a coaching change, and added some guards and a 4-star power forward out of the portal as well. I think it's a good test, and I think Matt would agree with that. As you look at these two programs, typically I would give the upper hand here to the Wolfpack, but given the turnover that they've had and South Carolina having some consistency, at least at the head coaching position, but really retooling it almost feels like a matchup of two programs who are ripping the Band-Aid off and starting fresh in this year. I said before that this situation with Lamont Paris is as close to the reset button as you can get without having a new head coach, pretty much a new staff, and almost an entirely new roster as well. We've taken time to kind of break that down as we've looked at the transfer portal for the Gamecocks. Marquee matchups in the SEC here for those my friends out there who will be with us on SEC Sunday night here in just a few minutes. I'll go ahead and note this. Duke at Florida. This is probably preseason number 2 visiting preseason number 1. You also have Texas and Louisville, probably top 15 teams, and Arkansas, North Carolina is going to be another top 25 matchup. I love the Arkansas-North Carolina matchup. It's one of my favorites. But this Duke-Florida thing could be a clash of titans and something to pay attention to. South Carolina's men's basketball team is also going to be in the Acrisure Series in Palm Springs, California. So teams in the top 2 pods that will join the Gamecocks, Southern Cal, Arizona State, Utah State, Grand Canyon. Don't forget about them. St. Louis is a program to pay attention to. Stanford and Colorado. We don't have any brackets or matchups from that yet, but something to watch out for as opportunities for the Gamecocks. Welcome back, Matt Anderson, as we're talking about Palm Springs and the men's basketball team. It's a pretty good lineup, I think, for opportunities in California.
Yeah, did you already run through some of the teams that are in there?
Yeah, I just read them off. I haven't.
Yeah, so the big thing we don't know.
Yeah, go ahead.
The big thing we just don't know is what bracket they're going to be in.
Yeah.
So, for me, it's an opportunity for some Q1 wins. I mean, if you go back to a couple years ago when South Carolina made the NCAA tournament, winning those 3 games or
Absolutely.
2 games, whatever it was huge for a resume booster. We'll just have to see what happens with this particular tournament. Don't forget the Gamecocks will also play Clemson. I can't remember if it's going to be home or away this year. Don't know what they decided where it is. Do you know, Rob?
No,
was last year away? I think last year was away.
It was.
So it'll probably be home. But yeah, I mean, there's a good opportunity for South Carolina. I think, going back up to the NC State game, Justin Gainey is bringing in basically a new team as well.
What I said there is I think that it's almost 2 completely new situations.
Yeah.
South Carolina didn't make a head coaching change, but almost everything underneath them changed. So it feels like 2 programs trying to feel their way out early on with new staff, new roster, and you can kind of look back, even though the teams will be completely different. this is a rematch of what we saw in the exhibition last year that got people a little excited before the season started.
Yeah, I think that the big thing is just you're going to have a couple opportunities for Q1 games. Rob, I kind of wanted to take this to, how if you're Lamont Paris, will you schedule around Clemson, NC State in this tournament out in California? Because, Rob, for me personally, I think that with this version of the Gamecocks, you can't worry about trying to schedule some good games. Like, honestly, don't give me Furman. I don't want them. I don't want anything to do with Furman, even with them losing their two best players. I don't want to deal with Furman, but go get the Charleston Southerns. Go get, I was going to say Stetson, but that leaves a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths still. But go find, 8 other games, 9 other games, which you should win, because this season is still going to boil down to the SEC regular season. You're going to have to find a way to get to 7 or 8 wins, and you do everything possible knowing that you have these potential 4 to 5 games against Q1 competition like already there.
Is there anything specific that intrigues you about Palm Springs and that lineup? Is there anybody that you would like to see the Gamecocks play, or anybody that jumps off the page to you there?
Well, honestly, to me, like Arizona State, they have a new head coach. So, Bob Hurley is no longer at Arizona State. Southern Cal, that's going to be a Q1 game. I'm all for getting those Q1 opportunities, Rob, if that makes sense. You might lose them, but a Q1 loss doesn't hurt you in the non-con. It can only help you. St. Louis as well. We all know that Elijah Strong is now at St. Louis. I think that, a lot of Gamecock fans would like to see the Gamecocks kind of beat one of those darlings from last season, a mid-major test that, it would be good for Lamont Paris to get a win against an up-and-coming coach who stuck around another year at the mid-major level. And I'd like to see the Gamecocks take a crack. But honestly, I don't know if I want anything to do with St. Louis. Not because if they're going to be good or bad. I don't know. I would think they'd probably be pretty good next year. But there's no guarantee that's going to be a Q1 game when it's all said and done. And if I have the opportunity, I want to play Q1 games. And if I lose 2, that's fine. Honestly, that's fine. You got to get ready for the SEC schedule.
Yeah, I think that the St. Louis and the Grand Canyon matchups kind of jump off the page to me. And maybe it's because, what we saw with the Gamecocks, they got Grand Canyon before. But you talk about darlings of the tournament, teams that maybe people would, if you're a casual college basketball fan, sleep on, but those could potentially be really good opportunities. And we also saw the money that Grand Canyon continues to pour into their athletic department. They showed up in a lot of portal battles. So when you look at opportunities and kind of what is being built, college basketball rosters, the turnover from year to year, if you're not a program yet, if you're still a team like a Duke or UNC or even in Arkansas under Calipari, you kind of know what you're going to get year in and year out. But with some of these teams that are, especially the mid-majors that are trying to continue to build, Matt, there can be a lot of fluctuation in the roster from year to year. But we were able to see what happened in the portal there. And you talk about Q1 wins or Q1 opportunities. I think some of those schools would be intriguing for the Gamecocks.
Yeah, when you look at it, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus the Gamecocks. They're going to be in like that top 2 brackets.
Yeah.
None of those games are penciled in as wins for the Gamecocks right now.
No.
At all.
No.
So it doesn't really matter who you get. You want to build on something. So we'll see. This schedule will continue to come more and more into the light as the summer progresses. I know last year there were teams in October who hadn't been able to release their schedule because they were having trouble finding teams to play against. And usually those are mid-majors. South Carolina will just buy the games. They'll get them. But, here's something that I picked up on, Rob, recently, and I don't know if you've heard this, but back when Ray Tanner was the athletic director, he just said, like, it doesn't matter what happens in basketball until the month of January. He said November, December, but January is the month where the fans show up. So, regardless of who the opponent is, you really need to try and, if you can, get to Colonial Life Arena, support the team because it just builds. South Carolina, even in their NCAA tournament run with Lamont Paris, wasn't getting 13,000, 14,000 people in until late January. And then obviously we know February was popping. Like it was some of the best environments I've ever seen at the CLA. So we'll see what the schedule bears out, but we'll be keeping an eye on that. Rob, let's take a quick sponsor break, and when we come back, let's talk a lot about football. I think that's what people want to hear about too.
Yeah, let's do it.
Morning, Carl. Usual?
Yeah.
Your oldest was in here the other day. Said the two of you took a trip down to my neck of the woods. How'd that go?
You might as well give me one of those Carolina cars while you're at it.
I knew I liked that one.
Yeah.
There you go, my friend.
Thanks.
Hey, Carl. Congratulations.
See you tomorrow, Freddie.
You bet.
JC Sherbert here had a brilliant idea that some good friends of mine in Florence have told me about. Next time you're having a wedding or an event or anytime you got to feed a bunch of people, talk to my friends over at Flavortown Eats and Events. That's right. It's a food truck / trailer, prepares the food fresh on site right there for you. No hassle. It's absolutely delicious. They'll come out, turnkey solution to feed the masses at your event. Go to their website right now. flavortownflow.com. That's flavortownflow.com. They have all the contact information you need, and they are a proud sponsor of the Late Night Gamecock Show and the Chief Sports Network.
Welcome to Palm Casual Patio Furniture. Because we are the factory, Palm Casual has the ability to offer the highest quality outdoor furniture paired with world-class service. Since 1979, our factory showrooms have done our best to make the buying process as easy as possible for our customers. Our understanding of the many factors that go into your decision has helped us create our 30-day trial period that increases the level of comfort our customers feel during the shopping experience. Visit us in Somerville, Mount Pleasant, Myrtle Beach, and Bluffton, and online at palmcasual.com for our products and out-of-state locations. Go Gamecocks!
Welcome back into the Late Night Gamecock Show. I'm your host, Matt Anderson, the Late Night Gamecock. Rob Williams is joining me. And look, really quick, go ahead and you see underneath Rob's name, at Rob Williams GCP, give him a follow on Twitter. That guy is on Twitter nonstop. It's probably the easiest way to get a hold of Rob. And then you can do Late Night Gamecock for myself, and it's just the letter L, the number 8, and Night Gamecock. So happy to field any questions. We're always down for some interaction with you folks. If you have questions, comments, concerns, or stuff for the show that you want to see, let us know. I do want to again say we thank our sponsors so much. Flavortown Eats it's an icon in Florence. Anybody that's doing anything catering wise in Florence, the PD area, even stretching down to the Grand Strand, are using Flavortown Eats. So make sure if you have an event, you need something, reach out to them. And then Palm Casual, y'all, my in-laws just went there last weekend. They were excited. They loved the product. They said it was all high quality stuff, and they're coming back with a truck. They drove an SUV there. They're going to come back and buy a ton. So make sure you get over there. Rob, we need to get to some football stuff, and really we'll start with recruiting here. And look, TD Noel's already all over it. Rob, for me, okay, just to say it, 2027 safety, top 200 player in the country, top 100 player in the country, depending where you look. Jernard Albright, a safety, decommitted from South Carolina. I want to say he was the first commitment in the class, and he might have been the second.
It was him or Amari Fountain.
Yeah, and you see both of them have now decommitted.
Yeah.
As someone who covers recruiting for the Gamecocks, I love commitments, right? It's something to talk about. It's exciting. But I never, ever, 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 Rob, hold these kids to any kind of accountability because no one else does, right?
Yeah.
So, he decommitted. He flipped to Florida State on official visit weekend. The kid's from Georgia, right? So Tallahassee's right over the Georgia line. You can't say, Rob, that the Gamecocks went 4-8 and they were greener pastures, right?
Yeah, not in this case. Not in this case. You could say that maybe if you are Jaden Bryant, who committed to Miami this week and shut it down after moving the official visit to South Carolina to this weekend and then canceling all official visits, which that's about all the airtime we need to give to that one. But if you're going to a program that was in the college football playoff last year or knocking on the door, then you can make that type of comment. But not at Florida State. I don't think that Florida State is behind South Carolina in any way, shape, or form. I mean, ahead of South Carolina in any way, shape, or form, and especially not in the way that it was, that you guys may have seen or heard. And we see T.D. Noel kind of pointing out the quotes from Albright today. So, yeah, it's not fun, right, Matt? When you have a recruit who is proven to be a quality player, when you can look at the tape as we do and see the ability and not just the potential, but already some ability there to perform on the college level, and somebody who fits in this type of system, I get it. I get that there's frustration, but I would caution everybody getting frustrated about recruiting because it's 2026 and recruiting is a little bit different in this day and age. We've seen what Shane Beamer and his staff are able to do, not just from the high school side in terms of keeping things together, but also from the transfer portal. And at this point in time, Matt, the way that roster construction happens in college football and in other sports, but we'll talk college football specifically for now, is a year by year kind of evaluation of what do you need to balance out each position group in each room. And in some cases, you need to go really heavy in the high school class to backfill and build the depth that's underneath that you can develop over a couple of years and get those guys ready to go. And sometimes you need more immediate fills in certain spots that's going to come from the transfer portal. And sometimes, Matt, you're going to get a group of guys from the high school level that you have to make sure that the price is right, or you can't just, I'll just say it this way. You don't want to overpay for guys that you're not going to use for a couple of years. And that's not an Albright comment. That's just a pure recruiting comment in general.
Well, I'd also say that you see this every year, and you used to see it more back in the day. And it's crazy that I'm talking about back in the day, Rob. And back in the day was what, 5 years ago?
Yeah.
4 years ago. But back in the day in the summertime, or even on a game weekend, you would see a player get caught up in the moment. Like, this is the plan that this coaching staff has for me. Oh my gosh, that official visit was off the chains. It was so much fun. I can envision myself, running out after Osceola slams that flaming tomahawk spear, whatever they do there, into the field, and you get called up. Now, I don't know if that's the case for Albright. I haven't gotten all the details yet. I don't know. I haven't even read the quotes that Tino is talking about. But if you say they're laughable, man, like a lot of quotes from kids are laughable right now.
Well, the quote was essentially that I think the quote that he's referencing is that he said South Carolina was 10 steps behind Florida State right now.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's
which is why I said earlier. I don't think that South Carolina is behind Florida State. That it maybe personally for him and something that appealed to him. Maybe I didn't read the context of it to be frank. I just saw the headline, which is probably designed to grab your attention in that way, and I get it. But that's
who knows?
I don't agree.
Like who knows? Like honestly, like I don't think anyone should lose sleep. I don't think this recruitment is over. We've seen worse comments from recruits who come back and go back to their original commitment.
Yep.
But these official visits, we've talked about it, Rob. And before we move on, we'll talk about the Gamecock official visits here in a second. But there are so many different levels, and Rob was alluding to this earlier. The official visit now isn't just, hey, let me show you how you fit in our system, what college life would be like. Yeah, you're going to have a great time, all of that. I have, in all the years I've done this, Rob, I don't think I've ever heard of an official visit, the player just having a bad time. Like, hey, the official visit's the reason I'm not going to this school. It's never that.
Yeah.
It's the different layers that happen afterwards. Now, unofficial visits, I've heard things like Gary Gray when, if no one's heard this story before, Sidney Rice was dominating, the SEC, and he was at a party, and Gary Gray said, you're doing this now, but look at the scrubs you're playing against in practice. Like, wait till I get here, I'll lock you up. And Sidney Rice had some choice words back to him about, Captain Munnerlin, who went on to play, almost a decade, if not more, in the NFL, and said, essentially, you can't hold this guy's jock. And Gary Gray got in his feelings and decided that he was going to go to Notre Dame. Well, guess what? Despite all of that, South Carolina still had him on the verge of an official visit later in the cycle. So you can't take these kids' words or their actions for much right now. You just hope that they stick. But moving on to official visits from this past weekend, Rob.
Yep.
There were a handful of guys that were in, more than a handful, actually. Let's start with 4-star defensive lineman, defensive tackle, Nate Kamba. Coming into this visit, Rob, I heard that South Carolina might actually be the leader. After the visit, I've heard nothing different. I do think he's going to follow through with his visit to Auburn next weekend, because some kids, that they schedule a visit, they're going to go on it, right? But I think that Auburn's really going to have to, roll out the proverbial red carpet. Maybe have some NIL conversations that are a part of that. But, for Kamba, I don't believe it's going to be NIL related. Most of the kids at his level, a 4-star, it's not much difference than what the NIL offers are. It truly is where you feel most at home. But I wouldn't be surprised if we get to July 4th and he's in this class, in the boat. Rob, you have any thoughts that differ from mine?
No, I'll just add to it when I say this. When you don't have an NIL battle, and I'm not saying South Carolina doesn't have the money to front NIL. That's not what I'm saying. What I said earlier about being smart about not overpaying for certain players is what I mean by this comment that I'm about to make. When it's not a money discussion and it comes down to pure old school recruiting, building relationships, environment, laying out a vision, making guys feel at home and comfortable, I really trust this Shane Beamer staff. I think that they are one of the best in the country, not just in the conference, in recruiting in that way. You can see it, Matt, across what we've already seen in terms of commitments in the close finishes that they've had. Some guys maybe that went somewhere else for one factor or another. I won't say that it's money in any specific case or not, but you can read between the lines on some of those. I do think with Kamba that South Carolina's in a really good position. Auburn's going to have to make a strong play for him, and that'll be kind of the test, the litmus test there. But I agree with you. I think that there's a significant chance that he could end up in the class.
Yeah, anytime a kid goes to Auburn, and despite what Auburn's been over the last, maybe decade to 2 decades, I mean, they won a national title. Don't forget that. It might have been 2 decades now since they won the title. It feels like yesterday to me when the Gamecocks lost them in the SEC championship game.
Yeah,
but you can't discount any, blue bloods, off blue bloods, whatever you want to call them. So, Gamecock fans, still got to sweat this one out. Nothing's done as of right now, but the Gamecocks are trending very much in the right direction. I'll be honest, I haven't heard anything about John Archer's visit. I assume it went well. Normally when kids commit less than a month ago and they come on campus, you get all those good feelings back. And he was one of a number of commitments that were on campus.
Yeah, I don't have any significant updates there either, but I think no news is probably good news when it comes to John Archer. This is a kid, like we've said before, that everybody is pretty high on, and not having anything significant come out of the weekend, I think, is a good thing. Just, in the same way that we're looking at recruits that are decommitting from South Carolina, or that maybe South Carolina is still in the mix for, and to your statement earlier, like, it's not over till it's over. Official visits still matter. Official visits are recency bias in a lot of cases. You don't count anything out, and so that's the same thing for the young men that are already committed. Is that you have to continue to recruit, you have to continue to keep them in the boat, because there's going to be other suitors who are going to come after them. And I think that's the case with John Archer. Like, there are other teams that are not going to stop because he's too good of a talent. They're going to continue to come after him. But I don't have any reason to believe that that's rocky or anything as it is right now. I think that, still all positive surrounding him. But it is kind of like you said, when you have a big time recruit, you got to build a fence around him and hold on to him until they get ink on paper.
Well, it's a really good thing to get him on campus for an official visit, pretty quickly, reinforce those good feelings. I can't add anything to what you said, Rob. I think that was perfect. I will say that I think with 3-star linebacker Jackson Ross, who is from Columbia, his dad David Ross played basketball for the Gamecocks. I was actually a ball boy for David Ross back in the day, which was over 20 years ago now. But with him, I do think, and I've said this, that Texas Tech is a real player in this recruitment. Vanderbilt is as well. But I think South Carolina I don't even know if South Carolina had to make a major step forward. They didn't have to. I don't know if they had to overcome Texas Tech. Like, I don't think it was like a sizable lead if there was one, but he was very much considering Texas Tech and Vanderbilt to a lesser degree. Everything I've heard from this official visit is that the Gamecocks are likely in the driver's seat here, and we'll see how it plays out. But anytime you can be in the pole position right now, Rob, leading into a football season with a kid in your backyard, just watch the game visits for this one.
Yeah, I agree with you. And, you find yourself here with a couple of recruits this weekend that may be Texas Tech battles. You mentioned that they were Jackson Ross, Kelvin Millington, the 6'3" corner out of North Oconee in Georgia is exactly how you draw him up in terms of a Torian Gray defensive back. He has visits with Texas Tech and Virginia Tech coming up before his commitment on July 9th, but has South Carolina in the lead for now. So it's a high bar for the others to meet, but just another one right there, kind of back to back. You got a couple of defensive recruits that are in that battle with the Red Raiders, and given what they did last year, and I think, having a linebacker who was in the Heisman discussion, elevates what that defense can do. A couple of guys on the defensive front that were high draft picks. David Bailey going, I think number 2, number 3 overall.
Yeah, top 10. I remember that, but I don't know his actual.
So a lot of splash around that. Not to mention, I'll call it what it is. Cody Campbell's money helps Texas Tech in recruiting as well. So it'll be interesting to see the Gamecocks duke it out in those battles. But again, I think that Millington is a prototypical build. Again, 6'3", 180 out of North Oconee in Georgia. This is a kid that fits the bill exactly for what Torian Gray wants to do on defense. And, when I look at the DBs, you want that type of length. And him saying that South Carolina's in the lead is, again, there you are in pole position.
And I will add one thing on Kelvin Millington. He actually measures 6'4" on campus. And that's, I'm not going to sweat over 6'3" versus 6'4", but he's a guy I think the Gamecocks can likely get if they push. We'll have another conversation about that here in a little bit. As far as the 2 commitments at wide receiver that were on campus with Javion Robinson and DJ Huggins, I haven't heard anything. But again, like sometimes when kids commit, they just enjoy their official visit. They're locked in. They're done with the media. They're focused on their senior season. They're focused on their next steps after high school. But I'm sure there will be something that Wes puts out or Chris puts out on Gamecock Central, thebigspur.com, and you'll be able to read that. With Will Endicott, another commitment, and we're going to hit 2 of these real quick, Rob. Will Endicott and Jackson Elson, both of them are locked in with the Gamecocks. It would not surprise me to see Endicott make a trip for a game or 2 during the regular season. The big thing that I think came out of here, despite being from Texas, he's probably going to play center at South Carolina. Yep. And with Elston, he can play all over across the offensive line, but I think they're going to start him out at tackle. And one interesting note here, Rob, is that, with Jason Smith and with Clem, they actually just reviewed his game tape on their official visit. They critiqued it. They analyzed it. They gave him pointers. They gave him tips. And it's not often that you get a high school kid who really wants to hear do this better or do that better, but he was all over it. So that's an official visit weekend in the books, and there's going to be plenty more of these, and Rob and I will definitely talk about it. Moving on to camp updates, Rob, if I had gotten my background right tonight, it was going to be the the Jerry and Steve Spurrier indoor facility, which Rob and I have become intimately familiar with over the past couple of days. Rob, this is his first time covering it with me out there. I've been there this is my third summer. It's a lot of fun, but there is some news that's come out of camp, Rob. So I'll go ahead and start with some offers that have gone out. We'll start with 2027 quarterback Luke Gaithier, 6'4", 175 out of Radford, Virginia. He was offered a preferred walk-on spot and jumped all over it. This is a kid that, he is playing private school ball in Virginia. I've watched his film. I can't say that it's elite competition, but what I can say is his footwork is good. He puts the ball on the money. There are a couple of throws that probably wouldn't work in 6A Georgia football or 6A Texas football. Yeah. But as a developmental guy that's coming as a preferred walk-on, there's no downside.
Yeah, I agree. And in the time that we're able to look at him a little bit too, like you said, this is a 6'4", 175-pound kid. So big, long, he's got the frame. Can he pack on some pounds and some muscle to kind of fill out that frame a little bit, but has the frame to be the prototypical quarterback size there as well. So it's definitely something to build on. And for a PWO, I think it's a good pickup.
Then you got 2028 defensive tackle Flores Odin. I think he's 6'4", 6'5", 290 right now.
Yep.
He moves well. I'll just say that after, putting eyes on him, he moves well. Then you flip on his tape, man. I mean, he's playing defensive end and no, he's not Jadeveon Clowney coming off the edge. A little slower, but he doesn't give up on plays, and he can bulldoze the person in front of him. I really like him as a player. Obviously, he's a 2028 kid, so he's still got room to grow, get stronger. Don't know how much taller he'll get, how much bigger he'll get, but has the opportunity. And he's a kid that, when you see these kids in a camp setting, maybe I should have started with this. Like, I can watch Josh Dobson last summer and be like, oh my God, like what a genetic freak lottery type player. And then I can watch Donovan Murph and I can say, that's the best kid there. Like, doesn't matter. He's the best kid on offense. But these coaches know what they're looking for. And it's harder to do O-line, D-line. It's a lot of one-on-ones. And it's all about what other kids came to camp that day, Rob. So, like, they're looking for things, not just demolishing the guy in front of them, which he did, but also other aspects.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You can kind of look at the list here. Other guys that got offers. Obviously, Jaden Briles kind of sticks out because of the last name. He is Kendall Briles' son, and he was he displayed quickness that I didn't expect when I got a chance to look at his tape a little bit. But picks up the offer. The other one that I would say, as I kind of look across the list here, and you can hit some other ones too, Matt, was offensive tackle 2029 offensive tackle Jordan Lewis from Dorman. Dorman has 2 2029 offensive linemen. Mavian Gibson would be the other one, and they both have a lot of potential and size. Just something to keep an eye on. 2029 seems like it's far out there, Matt. It's not really that far out there, and you can tell with a kid like Lewis that in the face, even how young he looks, but the frame is there to build on, and I think those guys are going to be really good in years to come.
Yeah, I'll hit some quick ones here. 2028 tight end Gregory Kerwin out of Rhode Island, 6'5", 230. He looks just like a tight end, guys. Like, I mean, he's still kind of young. He picked up an offer from Tennessee recently. He's picked up a handful of other offers from power conference programs. He's still young, but man, Sean Elliott was coaching him hard. And, sometimes when you go to these camps, some of these kids like to be pampered, and you see the coaches pamper them a little bit, quite honestly, but not this kid. If you see some quotes from him, he likes to block. He said, I'm a possession receiver. I'll do anything to get the first down. I'll do anything you want the team needs me to do. And you're talking about Rhode Island. It's not really known as a football state, but that's a football player right there. I'll definitely echo what you said about Jaden Briles. I didn't know what to expect. And quite frankly, Rob, when I was at camp and watching him, there were a couple other people that were shocked that was Briles' kid. They were like, is that Bryle's kid? And when I say he got open in a phone booth, he got open in a phone booth. When he went deep, like if he didn't come, like it's so cliche, Rob, but I'm gonna freaking do it anyway. It's kind of like a little Wes Welker. I mean, like that's what it looks like.
It does look that way.
And he gets open in a phone booth. He can go deep. I mean, like honestly, a Jaden Sellers comp isn't a bad one if we want to get away from the white boy football players. But what I will say is when he didn't come down with the ball, almost every single time, 90% of the time, 95% of the time, he beat his man in front of him, and it just wasn't all. It was a throw that was off. Like nothing he did wrong. So then you got Joseph Gibbs, man. Like the thing about Joseph Gibbs, you can put on his tape too. It's that second level speed. Like he probably needs some more polish as a wide receiver, getting off the line and stuff like that. But when he gets the ball in his hands, especially in a camp setting, like you can't tackle him, you let alone touch him. Like he's just gone. Then you look at Tylen Grimes, another 28 wide receiver. So Bryles, Gibbs, and Grimes are all 28 wide receivers. Gibbs 6'2", 175. Grimes 6'4", 180. He's a really good player. He came in looking to earn an offer, and he did. And he's probably one of the better wide receivers I've seen over the last 3 years. And big, long kid, catches the ball with his hands, can get separation, can make plays across the line of scrimmage and deep. He's one that the Gamecocks have circled. Some other ones that garnered some interest, safety, Tariq Leggett, 6'2", 195 out of Fairmount, North Carolina. One of the things that you see when you go to these camps, who are the coaches talking to? Who are they pulling aside? Who are they spending extra time with? Definitely Tariq Leggett. And then the other one I'm just going to say is I don't know where the Gamecocks stand with them. I haven't really figured it out yet. But 2028 quarterback Carter Zingelman out of Texas. I mean, the dude as a 2028 kid looks like Daniel Jones. Like, I mean, he moves like Daniel Jones. He can run. He can sling it on the run. I mean, every pass was almost pristine, which is to be expected when you have a top 100 kid out of Texas that plays quarterback and started, as a sophomore. So we got 7-on-7 coming this week, more O-line, D-line stuff. I like 7-on-7 because you get really good teams that come in that have good prospects. It's a lot easier to figure out who's who as well. So, Rob, you and I will be back there tomorrow.
Yep.
At least, we'll be there tomorrow, and there's like 2 or 3 more this week. We'll be at all of those, covering them for you guys, and we'll talk about next Sunday. Some general stuff, and Rob and I have a game that we got to get to, and I got to get Rob to SEC Sunday night. We'll talk about KJ Green. He committed to LSU. He was one of those defensive ends that is an elite prospect. We'll see where things end up with him. He committed to LSU. The Gamecocks are not going to pull off their pursuit, but this is when you have a malpress that's out there that visited 2 weeks ago, ready to go. You don't take him. The whole bird in the hand's worth 2 in the bush thing. We'll see if this comes back to bite the Gamecocks. Josh Dobson visited Texas A&M. This is the Gamecocks' primary competition. It'll be nice to see him get out of there without committing, but I do like the Gamecocks' chances, and they'll get the last official visit.
Yep.
Trey Segarra visited LSU, running back from Burns. And, Rob, with LSU has now entered the chat. I'll put it that way. It looks like LSU, Tennessee, South Carolina.
Yeah. I would go ahead and say that last one. I have notes on those last 2, and we'll get to the game.
Yeah, and so then last one is 4-star offensive lineman Nate Carson was in Athens. Georgia's been primary competition for him for a while. I haven't seen him commit anywhere yet, so cross your fingers, no stories, but he'll be coming in for an official visit later.
Yeah, so on Segarra, LSU has entered the chat. I don't put until I hear something different, I don't put a whole lot of stock in anybody getting in late on that kid. He's not really I'll just say I don't think that recruitment longer, stronger definitely applies. In terms of Nate Carson, it's a July 3rd commitment date, and I think it's a 3-way race right now between South Carolina, Georgia. Clemson made a big push last week as well, so they're kind of up in there as well. We're probably going to have a 4-quarter Friday video with Carson with interview with the commitment, so should be something. We'll see if that goes South Carolina's way, but no matter which way it goes, you'll probably be able to hear from him on that platform as well.
Well, that's awesome. And look, the recruiting never stops, and these kids are taking visits all over the country. Come to Gamecock Central, thebigspur.com, and pay your $1, and you'll get all this content because we're tracking literally probably 80 guys right now, like honestly,
yeah.
And it can be a lot. But Rob, let's go ahead and get to the game before we get you out of here. We'll do this pretty quick. Do you want to give Gamecock Nation on Instagram a shout? He put this up earlier today, I believe, and I saw it. So, Rob, you got $15. You got to build a roster. So when I see these, Rob, what I think is, do I have to start a running back? Do I have to pick one of each? So how are we going to play this tonight?
All right, you can do it however you. I mean, I don't care what personnel you use.
All right. Well,
you want to go empty? You can go empty. I'm not gonna do it, but you can do it. I'm going 11.
Right, so
I'm going 11
personnel here. Rob. Do you want to go position by position? Let's not go empty. Let's just go position by position.
Yeah. That's fine.
Do you want to start at tight end or quarterback?
Let's start at tight end because that'll work our way back.
Okay.
To the quarterback's last.
And I don't have 15 fingers, so I'm just gonna try and keep count.
No. Who are we going with first?
All right, I got to take my former Thunder Devil intramural basketball teammate Wesley Saunders for $1 here at tight end.
Yeah, and for those of you may not be able to see some of these names here at the bottom. I'll just I'll let you know that was the $1 pick there, as Matt said. So a couple of names down there. I don't know if they're cut off for you guys or not. The scroll is over a couple of them. I know that Jake Bentley,
Kevin
Josh
Harris,
Harris,
Demir Bird, and Wesley Saunders.
Okay, there you go. I'm gonna go with a $3 pick here, and go with Josh Simon because I like what he's able to do. I'm gonna go right in the middle.
I don't hate that pick. It was between Wes and Josh, but I couldn't throw my former Thunder Devil teammate under the bus there, so I got to take Wes. At wide receiver, man, I'm going to go with Alshon Jeffrey. I'll pay up here. He's just a mismatch, won a Super Bowl, all that jazz. So I'm at $6. Rob is at $3.
Yeah, I'm going with Sidney Rice here. Yeah. I mean, what else can you say, right? Like, had success at all levels, the ability to really stretch the field, true jump ball guy. I'm doing it. So I got Josh Simon, I got Sidney Rice. I'm at $7.
All right, I'm at $6. So now the other wide receiver here, I feel like I have to bargain shop, but none of these guys are a bargain because they're all elite talents. I will go senior year Xavier Legette. I want to get some value in the return game.
Okay.
So I'm at $8 now with Wesley Saunders, Alshon Jeffrey, and Xavier Legette.
All right. Speaking of value in the return game, I'm going value all around in anywhere you want to line him up. I'm going Deebo Samuel here, a guy that's going to be able to play multiple positions. We can put him in the backfield. You can run him around. You can put him in the return game, and he's going to get you back-to-back kickoff returns for touchdowns week after week. We've seen it live, and we've seen him in the NFL. So I'm now at what, 11?
Yeah, you got $4 left here, Rob.
It's all good. It's all good, my friend. It's all good.
All right, so
I got my $4 ready to roll.
I'm at 1.6. I'm at $8. Oh man, this is tough, Rob. So I got $7 to work with. All right, I'm going to go Rico Dowdle as my running back. It seems sacrilegious, but I need to save money for quarterback. So give me Rico Dowdle and probably the best NFL career of the bunch outside of maybe George Rogers. Mike Davis had success in the NFL. Marcus Lattimore would have, and Kevin Harris made an NFL roster. So, all right, I'll go Rico Dowdle here.
All right, I'm going Mike Davis because I think that he gives me, and that gives away my pick, by the way. But that gives me everything that I need from a running back. Just the all around, again, right there in the middle in terms of value. But I think his ability to hit the extra gear, but also catch the ball out of the backfield. He's got a big body, he can go between the tackles. Give me Mike Davis.
All right, so we both know our last pick here. I'm taking Connor Shaw at quarterback. I spent all $15. All-time winningest quarterback, probably led the Gamecocks to the most success of any of these quarterbacks on the list. So I got Connor Shaw. I got Rico Dowdle, Xavier Legette, Alshon Jeffrey, and Wesley Saunders. Who's your last pick here?
All right, I got Jake Bentley here, and I think that Jake gets a lot of hate that he doesn't deserve, and I think that he can come in and get it done with Mike Davis, Debo Samuel, Sidney Rice, and Josh Simon. I love what Jake Bentley can do. Also, Jake, call me back. Would love to get a reply. That'd be fantastic.
Oh man, well that was fun, man. We're gonna try and do more of these games here at the end of shows, especially during the summer. They're a lot of fun. So we'll look forward to the next one. Rob, I'm gonna get you out of here. Get over to SEC Sunday Night. I'll be watching. Everybody else, go to SEC Sunday Night. You can find on the Chief Sports Network, 8:00 every Sunday. Rob, for me, for you, we all thank you when you spend time with us. You give us the most valuable thing you have. So thank you, and we'll be back next Sunday. Everyone have a great night. See you soon.